Everyone talks about the red pill content for men. Women warn each other about it. There are entire videos, articles dedicated to flagging the guys who might have been poisoned by it. We're taught to see women as targets, not as people. We've heard all about it. But I do believe there is a mirror version of this. Content aimed at women. And I've seen this type of content. It's teaching them the exact same poison, just in a different bottle. It teaches women that a man's worth is measured in what he spends, that chasing is beneath them, and that love that doesn't cost him isn't real love. And almost nobody is calling this out. Today, I'm going to talk about what this type of content is actually teaching women and exactly how to spot a woman who has been trained by it before you hand over your time, your money, and your heart to someone running a playbook instead of trying to actually build something genuine and real with you. Hi, I'm Mariana, dating and relationship coach for men, and most of what I do is help men understand what's on the other side of the table. The stuff that nobody truly explains to you. So let's get into it. If you don't live under a rock, you probably know what I mean when I say red pill content. And if you don't know about it, it's essentially content that takes something real, like self-respect or not settling for less than what you deserve, and twists it into something toxic. Manipulation, contempt, treating women as opponents instead of partners. And so I was thinking about this, and I know that there is some version, obviously not identical, but there is a version of this for women. And I thought, I need to make a video about this. A lot of the times it's disguised as female dating strategy or high-value women content. And although that content can be very helpful for women, I've seen some of it and I do agree, but unfortunately there are toxicity that has been thrown in that talk, in those type of videos. So it's like different label than red pill content, but essentially the same mechanism. The core lesson is simple. Your worth is measured by how much you are willing to spend on a woman without hesitation. For women, chasing a man is weakness. They have been taught to make him work for it. Essentially, they learn that love that costs nothing means nothing. And this talk about chasing somebody, right? It gets to the point where women put zero effort, right? When there should be. That's what dating is. You putting your best foot forward and that person as well. It is a dance, not this man will bow down to me and do whatever I want, right? Because then that's not equal partnership. That's not mutual respect. And I see a lot of that discourse online. And frankly, I have been scared to make a video about this because I don't want 100 million women to come after me. But it is something that's very, very important. I work with so many of my clients who are men. And unfortunately, many men are villainized when I know you all have sensitive hearts and you just want that love. I think anybody in this world just wants to be loved. And it's these discourses and videos and this and that that really taint love and really make things complicated. And so many of this advice for women is self-marketed as self-respect and empowerment. But unfortunately, certain toxic content can really build this scoring system. One where men really aren't people to get to know. They're essentially wallets to be evaluated. And I'm not saying all women consume this content, right? But for those that do, you have to be able to know how to spot when you have been spending your time dating someone in a relationship with someone that has been taking part in this playbook, in this toxic advice, on this focus on just money, on what you can do for her. So this is what this toxic type of content actually teaches. It teaches the idea of boy money versus man money, always towards more money, more status, where a man's value is measured almost entirely by his wealth, by how much money he makes, by what car he drives, on how freely and easily he spends money. And it teaches that the bill from day one is a test, not of character, not of how he treats people, but of whether you'll pay without flinching. It borrows the don't chase, don't initiate language that you recognize from some of the red pill content. Except here, it's aimed at extracting money from men, not building mutual respect. It's all about what you can do for her. And it works in the same way that the men's version works. It takes a real fear, right? A lot of women fear being used, investing in someone that won't show up for her. Those are real fears, but then it turns into something toxic. That vulnerability makes them take part in this game. So instead of sitting with the vulnerability of actually getting to know a man, they have a checklist ready. A protection, if you will, which can be very toxic if it turns into a scoreboard. Then it starts feeling like control and not intimacy. So I know for many men, it can be very frustrating because you hear all these things of these are the red flags in men and men this, men that, and you feel attacked, and I totally get it. So I want to help you all to watch out for red flags in women who consume this content. So I'm going to talk about a few. One is early financial escalation. So what does that mean? Pushing expensive dates fast, almost in a demanding way. Commenting constantly on cost or things that she wants to get. Really kind of superficial things. 2, scorekeeping language. What do I mean by that? Phrases like, he has to earn it. If he really wanted, he would. That phrase, I could make an entire video about it because it's not that simple, right? If they wanted to, they would. Don't even get me started on that phrase, but let's keep going. If they use any sort of language that says, oh, like you owe them something, nobody owes anybody anything. So if you sense that type of language, like she expects to be served at all times, that is something to run away from. 3, if effort only seems to flow in one direction. Again, as a masculine man, yes, it is good for you to take charge, right? To pay for some dates, to show up as a protector, to make her feel safe, right? And sometimes that means, taking the lead, planning the dates. But there has to be a point where you also feel cared for, right? For my husband, I plan so many of our dates, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, he has to serve me hand and foot and do all these things because guess what? He provides for me in so many ways. So we give and take. So I don't mind to plan out a date in a restaurant that I know he's going to love. That is me caring for him. So if you see effort as you are the only one serving her and there is no back and forth, that is not fair to you and it isn't healthy, right? Sometimes this content with women, I see it and it stirs something like frustration in me because it's like, he should bow down to you. He should do whatever you want because you are the queen and all this. Okay, yeah, it's not wrong to think your lady is the queen and you do anything for her. But she also has to say, hey, he's my king. I'll do anything for him, right? 4, look out for vocabulary itself. Openly using terms like loyalty test, boy money versus man money. Just look at the language that she uses. Look at how she talks. And honestly, some men don't mind that. Some men like providing and doing everything for their woman. So if you like that, that's totally fine. But I'm talking to the men who feel kind of exhausted, who feel like a piggy bank sometimes, right? Listen to her vocabulary. Listen to what she values and what she thinks about and what is constantly in her mind and how she talks to you. Another sign to look out for is judging your character through your wallet. She reads your value based on what you make, on what you spend, on what things you can purchase for her, not on how you treat your friend, a waiter, her on a bad day, the advice that you give her, the non-tangible things that you give her. And this kind of counts as the first one I gave, but pressure around money early, rent help, gifts, phrases like, if you were serious about me, you would have already bought me this, you would have already done this for me. Watch out for that, right? Things that are arriving well before trust is earned, well before the relationship starts to deeply develop. Listen, I will say most women aren't like this. But of course, I have to talk about the red flags of women who might display these types of characteristics, and I want you to watch out for that. So the difference is simple. A healthy woman evaluates your character and reciprocates. A woman running on this playbook that I described evaluates what she can extract from you and simply calls it standards, leveling up, you bowing down to her. And I want to be careful here. It's going to be easy for you to click off of this video and be suspicious now of every woman that you encounter or go on dates with. And that's not the goal here. This would make you worse at dating, not better, being super careful and nitpicky about what women are saying and all these in dates. It's just about being smarter, catching the right signs, right? Not having your guard up all the way, but being smart about it. Listen, one expensive date is not a red flag. Maybe she happens to really love this restaurant. It happens to be expensive and she suggests it. If you are not able to spend the money, say, hey, that might not work out, but how about this? Or is there another place we can choose? So, and just see how she reacts. If she's like, oh, totally fine. I get that. Then you know, like, okay, this girl is going to be fine. But if she becomes like, oh, well, then date is off, is that somebody that you'd want to spend your time with anyway? So don't audit the entire date, but just notice, right? It's about noticing how she is, the questions that she asks, how she talks. But again, just requesting one expensive date does not make the entire thing, oh, it's a red flag. That's not good, right? You have to give people chances. It's about getting to know people. And that's why I listed these things that maybe you need to look out for. So again, it's not about becoming stingy or guarded about every woman that you meet. It's slowing down enough to let someone's actions show you their true colors, to show you how they operate, to show you what they think about, to show you what they value. An important thing is to watch how she treats you on nights that you can't provide anything for her. On nights that you may be too tired and you really need to lay low, will she take care of you just like you've taken care of her many times when she's been stressed, when she's been sad? Watch whether effort flows back your way. Watch how she reacts to a calm, no, I can't do that. Watch how she reacts when she doesn't get her way. That's where you find out where you're being seen as a person or valued as a wallet or a servant that is beneficial to her. Learning to read patterns like this in dating, relationships, in the people that you allow to be close to you is exactly what I help men build. If you want support with this, link in my descriptions on my offers, on how you can get in touch with me, on how I can help. As always, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.